Hello, this is Tons, and we are here with what will be part 1 of our review and play of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. Now I know, as per usual, as I've demonstrated, I'm quite late to the party, so to speak, as far as posting a video on this. Like very, very late. And I've been gone for a while. We just recently did Greedfall. Now we're here. There's a huge gap between the end of Greedfall and this. And basically it's because even though I play games, I'm not a real gamer. I'm not somebody who just likes games because they're games. Maybe there was a time I was closer to that. But it's actually rare for me to take interest in playing a game. Like so far, the next game that's going to be new that I'm interested in playing seems to be Ghost of Tsushima. I hope I said that right. Outside of that, I'm not interested in Cyberpunk, even though it is by CD Projekt Red and they do an amazing job with their games. I'm not interested in the Jedi Fallen Order that just came out. I'm sorry, I'm not a Star Wars person overall, even though I watched them. They're just not for me, and their games haven't been for me. So it's like new games keep coming out and they're just not for me, and I'm sorry about that. So initially my plan was to do a Greedfall review at the end, but the whole playthrough is a review and play. And I went back and forth on whether or not to do a summary. Maybe I still will, I don't know, but it seemed like it spoke for itself. This game I've played before, more than once, played through the DLC, and quite frankly, despite all the bad decision making by the developer, and Kurt Schilling conning people or whatever, this is actually one of my favorite games. I may even, and I know this is sacrilege, enjoy this game more than I enjoy vanilla Skyrim. There, I said it. And so we're going to play this game. I've never played it on PC. This is on PC. This is the highest settings, even though due to the artistic choices made, that likely won't make much of a difference. But here we are, and we're going to start this playthrough. Let's get into it. I'm going to go with normal. If you've seen episode 0 of Greedfall, or even episode 1, I explain why. So I'm not going to get into that here, but yeah, well, I generally pick normal.
From the beginning, we were wrong, and only now, well into the second decade of the conflict, have we begun to understand the mistakes we have made. We lived in harmony among the Fae, in a world awakened to new magic. Perhaps we should have foreseen what might be born on this rising tide. What force might awaken. A force powerful enough to twist even the eternal and immutable Fae folk. But Gadflow, the new king of the Winter Court, surprised us all. Singular among his people, he was all that other Fae were not. Aggressive, ambitious, visionary. He had power like none we had ever seen, terrible and deadly. Gadflow and his followers, the Tuatha Deon, believed that a new god was to be born in the east, beneath Gadflow's crystalline fortress of Amathen. In the name of that god, they marched to war against the young races of Amalur. Against a mortal army, no matter the power of their god, we might have been victorious. But the Fae are creatures of magic, not bound by the laws of life and death. Such two lives are fallen on the battlefield would soon rise again, for the Fae do not know death as we do. How could we stand against such a force? For 10 years the war raged. For 10 years the armies of men and Alpha fought and died. But as our numbers dwindled, we knew that it was only a matter of time. Our fate had been written. At least, that is what we believed. Until you died.
What do you think this one is then? Alpha? Garan? Could even be a Jotun. Always a surprise, eh, Garan?
Eyes on the job, boy. Don't matter what it is. Dead's dead. And be thankful for that. All we've seen. Go on and pull back the sheet, though. It'll need to be in our report, one way or the other.
Alright, character creation. Now, the character creator for this game, in my opinion, is pretty good. Now, I can understand people disagreeing with that. But here's the thing about people, apparently, according to research, we can actually be overwhelmed and are actually less happy the more choices we have. So, if there was an ice cream shop that had only 3 flavors, we'd be happier with that situation than an ice cream shop that had, say, 200 flavor options. That kind of thing. And I could see an argument for either or. But the approach here was far more simplistic. And I'm kind of down with that, especially with how it was executed. But we're going to read through all this. The Almain are a warlike and religious nation of a storied origin. Many Almain come to the Thayle seeking freedom, while honoring the traditions of their homeland. Persuasion +1, alchemy +1, blacksmithing +2. So these are obviously like the basic humans, but they didn't make the basic human boring. I have to say that. This is likely who we're going to pick. And even if this is boring by your standards, I understand that, as I tend to be boring with my choices. To be honest with you, I will pick the same thing, generally speaking. And this calls out to me. Warlike and religious? That sounds very paladin-y. I tend to go for paladin-y options. Varani. Excuse me. The Varani. Hardened by the high seas, the Varani are just as frequently pirates and mercenaries as they are shrewd merchants. They favor swords and daggers as seaworthy weapons. Racial bonuses: lockpicking +2, detect hidden +1, mercantile +1. So these are also humans, obviously. But they tend to be seafaring. In a way, it kind of makes me wish there was seafaring in this game. But there isn't. I do not know how to pronounce that. Lajosofar? I don't know. The Lajosofar are a proud and ancient people from the frozen lands of the north. Josephar judged themselves fit to divine right from wrong under wind, sun, and sky, and meet an even-handed justice. Alchemy +1, sagecraft +1, dispelling +2. Now, when I first played this, I thought these were the elves, and maybe they are. So I figured these were light elves, the other one was dark elves, and maybe that's true. It's just that in this particular setting, elves and fae are two different things. And I'm used to them being the same, not that I'm heavy into fantasy, but figure most of the time, most stories, they are the same. They're one and the same. They are not in this game. Daklafar. Daklafar are renowned and sophisticated students of magic and diplomacy. While they do not shy from conflict, they prefer to resolve disputes subtly and with grace or efficiently in silence. Persuasion +1, stealth +2, sagecraft +1. Like I said, we're going to go with Almain. But these bonuses, the way this game is done, they are nothing to turn your nose up at. Like, they make a difference. The way this game is done, it's not giving you too much, but it is giving you something. Trust me, and I'll show you that once we're in the game. Vrakor, God of Fire and Patron of the Forge. +6 fire damage, +6 fire resistance. Or +6% fire damage, +6% fire resistance. So if you have a fire spell, or you enchant your weapon with fire, this will help you. Even if you're not going to do that, at the very least, you will have resistance against fire magic. Athene, Goddess of Wisdom and Art. +10% mana. Theoden, God of War, Battle and Tactics. +5% physical damage, +5% armor. And some of you already know that's where we're going to go with this. Matharu, God of Order, +5% health, +5% mana. Inadon, God of Justice, +10% health. Or you could just be with none. Beholden to no god, your self-sufficiency yields its own rewards, +1% experience bonus. We're going to go with Theoden. Because, like I said, I like to use big old weapons. I like using the compensator. I like heavy armor. This is that guy. Or person. Maybe, you know. Maybe these are genderless people. Oh, okay. A lot of gods, only one goddess. So, how typical. So even though this is one of my favorite games, it's obviously not perfect. But there's a lot they do right that I like about it. For obvious reasons, this is the preset we're going with. For very obvious reasons. If it isn't obvious to you, yes, it's the skin tone. But I like the face. I think I like the basic face. I'm trying to pick somebody that looks like they could be a deity. And the reason for that won't be clear until later in the game. But that is what I'm aiming for. So, like an intense look. Because I don't know what the lighting is going to be like in this game, I'll probably make this character just one shade lighter than the default here. We're going to go with those eyes there, but we can look at the others. I wanted him to have an unusual eye color because the deity thing, but whenever I see red irises, thanks to a lot of shows and stories, I can't help but think vampire, and I don't like ever being a vampire. Though, I will admit, I am looking towards Vampire the Masquerade, the new one that's supposed to be in development and coming out soon. Because I've seen Let's Plays of the first one, and even though it has so many problems, the fact that it has so many problems and it still kind of does a lot of things right, in my opinion, from a roleplay standpoint, compared to more modern games, yeah. If they can improve upon that, I might be down to go ahead and play as a vampy. I'm thinking about bald. Blame it on the Kratos, but that's why. But I'm also looking at this. Because usually when I create a character, I try to pick at least one thing that is completely different from myself and or what I would normally select. And this would be it. So I think we're going to go with that. Mind you, Greedfall, we went all out. We went vastly different from anything I would make. Different race, different gender, everything. Like, everything was very different from what I would normally do. I would usually go no jewelry, but I don't know, I think we're going to stick with jewelry. I think we're going to go with it. Studs. This is where, excuse me, this is one of the areas that will suck when you have fewer options, because you're also less likely to find the one you want. Like me, I probably would want, personally, I'd be happier with more options, because I'm the type of person that when I create a character, generally speaking, I know what I want. It's just a question as to whether or not they have it. And a lot of times when it comes to certain things, they don't. But, again, I could still see the case for fewer options. Streamlining, as it were. But it's like, there was an idea I had for jewelry, and it's not there. Even though all the pieces are there, they don't combine the options quite how I'd want them combined. And usually I would do no face paint, no markings, no tattoos. Or at least I think I would. It's hard for me to say. So we're going to go with this. I think we're going to go with that. Because I like this too. And this. Because it looks like a crown, almost. And I can think of roleplay reasons for that. But we're going to go with this. We're going to do that. Probably keep it the same default intensity. The Mark of Theoden. Oh, and that's it. This is our character. See, I like that. Like, there's other character creators that are far more complex, such as like in Dragon Age Inquisition, which other people love, that's fine. But it was arguably my least favorite Dragon Age. And I would say their character creator, it's been a long time since I played it, was more in depth, and yet I'm far happier with the appearance of my character here than I am with the character I made in Dragon Age Inquisition. And don't get me started on Hawk. Don't get me started on the Dragon Age 2 character being imported in the Inquisition. Dear God in heaven. Like, oh God. So, sometimes less is more. And in this case, I would put this above
A human.
Inquisition.
Not in bad shape. I'll mean by the look of him. You know how you can tell? Turn him over. See if there's a stick in his arse. All right then. Make sure it goes into the report. You know he'll want all the details.
Amazing how well the body held up. Better than I've seen.
I'm just glad it's not moving. Must have been born under a lucky star, this one.
Anything else we need?
Unless you'd like to name him, I think we're done. Put him with the others.
Okay, so like I said, I played this game before, and I'm gonna go with that same name I've always gone with whenever I played this game. Thayle. One, because I think it sounds like the name of a god, and it also sounds close enough to Theoden, so to speak. Like, we're role-playing this character. He's not Theoden, I want to be clear, but he does, for our sake, have a connection to the god Theoden. So Thayle kind of encapsulates that, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to go with. Alright, for this part, we got to do this. Mind you, some of you who were paying attention to that first screen probably knew what the name was going to be from the start.
Well, that's it for you then. Better luck next time.
Those feet are ugly. They did not do your feet right. Gross. I mean, maybe the feet weren't done so bad. They just looked really bad in that cutscene because they look so blocky. Here we are. Now your character in this game, if I remember correctly, is a non-voiced protagonist, which is different from a silent protagonist, which I absolutely hate silent protagonists. Non-voiced I can put up with. Silent protagonists are just a crime. I know there's people that completely disagree with that, and I feel their arguments often have merit, but I hate silent protagonists. Cannot stand them. They are too unrealistic for me. Okay? The idea that people just keep speaking to you and asking you questions and so on and so forth, that you just sit there and stare at them, is just dumb to me. In this case, that doesn't happen, but all your lines are unvoiced. Similar to Skyrim, you're an unvoiced protagonist, but you are talking to people. Experiment disposal. Secrecy is still important in our work, requiring specialized disposal of our unfortunate failures. Piling remains have become a concern in the lower caverns, so an incinerator has been added to deal with the waste. This should make disposal work slightly less horrible, although you should avoid drinking water from downstream of the ash dumps. Hardly a fitting rest for the poor things, but if it's any consolation, these weren't their original bodies in the first place. For Morris Hughes. Now, as I mentioned before, and I do apologize for my voice and the interruptions, it's just that while I do not feel sick, like I don't feel miserable at all, obviously I have something. Because I have a cough, and my voice keeps sounding weird. So, in order to reduce the amount of coughing I do in a recording, I have to mute my headset, and the only way to do that is by lifting the microphone, but you hear it, like you hear the muting when it happens. But anyway, while this is absolutely one of my favorite games, they do a number of things wrong. I just watched someone's video about something called, that they coined as being internal realism. And it's an excellent video. I'm sure if you go to YouTube and just type in internal realism, hold on, you have acquired new items. To see your items, press start. And the stars lets you know when there's something new to look at. Out of the darkness, find a way out. I woke up in a pile of corpses somewhere deep underground. I have no memory of who I am and no clue where I am. I need to find a way out of here. So we have a new weapon. The rusty longsword. Obviously we're going to equip it. Disposable notes. I don't know what good those items do or why we should keep them, but that's what we're doing. But, and I don't know if this quite falls in a category of internal realism, but one of the problems that I have with development, and I understand there's limitations. You have time constraints, you have budget constraints.
All over. Run!
Scatter, children of dust! Scatter before the might of the dwarf!
They often don't think everything through. They set things up, but they don't build on those things. So, there would have been people down there. Gnomes. I think these are gnomes. There would have been gnomes down there to actually dispose of the bodies, or there should have been dialogue talking about how they're going to have to go downstairs to dispose of bodies. Like, if it... because that would explain why there's no gnomes down here throwing the bodies in the kiln. It's because there's not that many, so some of them do more than one job. So then it's like, okay, let's grab a few more bodies before we head down there to dispose of them in the kiln. That kind of thing. Instead, it's like completely empty. So that guy didn't make a lot of sense. And of course, in case you forgot, I am an explorer. And it has been a long time since I've played this game.
You! Up there! Please help me! Please! More mortals.
Okay. Dodge. Okay. Which we did by accident earlier. But I'm curious as to how to block. Ah. Can't just equip it straight out the gate.
Thank you. Thank you. If you hadn't come along... Wait. I've seen you before. On the slab. You were dead. It worked. By the tome, it worked. You're alive.
I'm not dead. I guess we'll do that. I'm not dead.
No, clearly not anymore. But you were. The Well of Souls remade your body. We thought you were another failure. But the well restored your soul to your body, and it worked. We must get you to Professor Hughes right away. He'll have questions for you.
Who are these attackers?
Oh my, you don't know? Perhaps the process damaged your memory. They are the Tuatha Deon, the enemies of all the young races. We've never seen them this far inland, not even during the invasion. I don't know why they are here. Hughes may have the answer to that as well. You must stay alive and reach him.
Who is Hughes?
Professor Formerus Hughes. The Well of Souls is his life's work. The Tuatha are coming in through the lower levels. If we hurry, we should be able to beat them to the top. Take these. They'll help keep you safe long enough to get to Hughes. Now, let's get going!
Now, what would Thayle do in here? Well, he doesn't fear death, so he's going to take his time. He would try to ask everything he can.
Oh my, you don't know? Perhaps the process damaged.
Alright, let's skip that because we already asked about that. I'm guessing death is I'm not dead.
I wish I could tell you more. You showed no signs of life when we removed your new body from the well's waters. We just put it in the furnace room with the others. We would have never done that if we knew.
Okay, I guess wrong. I thought death was going to be I'm not dead since attackers was identical to attackers. Well of Souls?
Well of Souls is just ahead. You'll see. And it works. It restored you to life. There will be plenty of time to explain later. We've got to get going.
Where's
He'll be in his
Hughes?
study on the ground floor of the tower. At least, I hope he's there. And safe. Let me get this door, and we can be on our way.
Yeah,
Right this way.
help you in a minute.
You go
First things first, we're taking some stuff. Because we're loot monsters. Wait, no. What are we doing? Now this is rogue gear that we found on the Tuatha. Doesn't quite make sense. He gave us some health, which he will not give you if you do not do that dialogue option where he gives you the health items. The item radial allows you to quickly access consumables from the game. Here you can add consumables to your inventory by selecting an empty slot and pressing A. Additionally, you can also add consumables to the item radial while in game by pressing LB. Continue. Alright, let's exit here and try that. See if we can LB. But I feel like we're missing something. I don't know. So I guess that's how we would use it too. Not the perfect way to do the quick menu, in my opinion. And this you have to bust stuff up, because you can find things. We just found some gold, in fact. Gotta break everything up. Things look a little dark on my screen. I hope it's not too dark for anyone watching, but it is kind of dark for me. Got some old boots. Now, I like the fact that you can put items right into junk, but it seems you cannot equip them straight from there, and that bothers me. One of the other things I have to criticize for, it's a minor criticism, is the fact that you name your character. More accurately, I believe Ensel here is the one that named your character. And it doesn't make sense because your name never comes into play, from what I can remember. Like, no one ever says your name. No one, you know what I mean? Like, it really doesn't seem to serve a purpose. Okay, so we know why they're here. But Insol was like, we remade your body. Thing about that is, if that thing we read is accurate, they did not remake our body. This was not our original body. It is very likely that regardless as to the character we make, the original person we were was that guy we watched in the cutscene who took out at least one Tuatha, but it looked like he took out more than that, but then he got overwhelmed. It's likely we are his soul inhabiting this new body.
In one of the stores, see if you can find anything useful.
The idea of breaking boxes to find stuff has always been a little weird to me. Like people just leaving gold in some of these crates. Alright, we're gonna take all just for the sake of taking everything here. You know, I'd probably like it if a game had a feature when you looted a crate called Equip Best. Something like that. Like anything to make it where you don't have to go into the menu as often. I mean, inventory management is a must. That is true. But anything you can do to reduce how much inventory management someone does. Ah, yes. So, of course, that's our style. We want heavy armor. I think the other thing is medium. And in this game, it doesn't appear to matter. Or maybe I'm remembering things wrong. I mean, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's how they do it. Because I was going to say, the weight doesn't seem to matter in this game. As far as, oh wow, this is heavier. Yeah, you can carry less. But I don't know. Yeah, I'd say, okay. It matters in a way. It usually does, but they've given the added benefit, it seems, of other bonuses. So this is rogue armor. Basically, this medium armor is rogue armor. It increases your critical hit damage. Whereas using heavy armor increases your block efficacy, whatever the hell that means. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. I should. I want to say efficiency, but I don't want to say efficiency because I don't know. That's what that means at all. I don't want to oversimplify it, but if it does mean efficiency, then I'll be upset. Because then, for the love of God,
Wait. Do you hear something?
they should have said that. They should have just said efficiency. Don't be using words that some people might not know. That looked dangerous.
It's part of the site.
LT to block enemy attacks. Boom. I need to see if there's perfect block in this game. If there is, I'm not good at it. At all. Oh, there was a perfect block right there. Oh, wow. There's perfect block. I was trying to dodge, but I hit the wrong button. It feels off a little bit, but it's probably just me. I need to get used to it. In a way, I like that the attacks don't seem all that predictable. Like they are, but it's like timing this is not easy for me. I know you're all like, just kill the bastard. I mean, you're right,
We're
but
going to need more than just that sword. That one had a bow. Get it?
oh, where? Said something about a bow. Oh. Let's put that bow on. And no, I won't be using this. Like, for the tutorial, this walkthrough, yes, we're gonna use it, but it should be very obvious that archery is not the style character I tend to lean towards. Alright, how do we use it? I don't remember.
Archers up ahead. Let's shoot them before they see us.
I probably should pay attention here. Okay. Alright. That's how we do it. I keep wanting to use a different button to dodge. And I wonder if it's because of rainfall. Like, I don't know if other people experience this because they're probably better or something. But when I play one game, and I've played it for so long, I have control ghosting, where the controls from before, I'll keep trying to use those controls. And it's like, that doesn't work. For obvious reasons. Right. I generally do not like to use range. That's not my style. I generally don't play as a rogue. I'm in your face. Let's inspect the tattered documents. Tattered documents. The writings on these documents are too faded to be of value. So why are they here? Why are they in the game at all? One must ask. I threw it in junk, but why would anyone buy them? See, this game's far from perfect, but it is quite enjoyable. It is like the RPG version of Spider-Man PS4 for me. Because that game is far from perfect. But at the same time, it is Spider-Man PS4. I think I've enjoyed that game more than I've enjoyed any other game. Seriously. It's like I would probably give that game a rating.
You catch an enemy unaware. Their speed more than makes up for their size.
7.5. But I could see it would be justifiable to give it an 8. But I personally put it at a 7.5. And I would put God of War at a 10. I would give it a rating of 10. And yet, I would... Oh, well, there's one way. Okay. You just gotta do compare first, and then you can equip straight from the box. Alright. It's not so bad. But, I love God of War. I'd give God of War a 10. That is a 10 game. Spider-Man PS4 is a 7.5. But if someone wanted to give it an 8, maybe even an 8.5, I would say that's
If you can sneak up on them
a justifiable.
you should be able to finish them quickly and quietly.
I would say that's a justifiable score, even though that's not what I would give it. And yet, undoubtedly, I had more fun playing Spider-Man PS4. Absolutely. 100%. Let's do all the stuff that we're never gonna do again. Let's just do that. Because we're not gonna do it again. Like, the walkthrough, I like it because it allows you to see all the mechanics.
The mistake of the gods, easily corrected.
Obviously, we're only going to be able to get one of them with this
Look
stealthness.
at the mortal burn and scatter.
But this is like that. This is not a perfect game. It is far from it. And yet, compared to other games that would get higher scores,
Cave blossoms only respond in the presence of magic. Perhaps there is more to you than it seems.
hold right trigger to access your abilities. Where the hell did we get Stormbolt from?
Incredible! What are you?
When did we get that? Did we have that the whole time? Because, what the hell? Yeah, you see how dark it is for me? Like, I didn't even see that there was railing there. Regarding the spiders, Hughes, per your request, we finally got the spider problem under control. Claude will try to take credit for an efficient cleansing with his Praetorians, but I feel he overstates his case and fails to recognize the value that my own quick thinking and scholarly work provided to this successful operation. While overseeing the spider purge, I noticed that those guards who were affected by spider venom exhibited stiffness of joints and tightening of skin symptoms, which suggests a possible solution for the internal cohesion problems of some of the well's creations. I would have studied these symptoms in more depth at the time, but the guards willfully and flagrantly disobeyed my orders to delay application of antitoxins. As such, I request that we capture some of these spiders in order to harvest their venom and for future testing. Furthermore, I trust that these insubordinate guards will be punished immediately. For my steadfast pursuit of knowledge, I require no medal nor promotion. All I would ask is that you please reassign me off of subject disposal detail. Goran. I have to assume that Goran is the other guy that was working with this dude who brought us in. And now you can get magical stuff. Minor Serpent's Venom. What is that? Minor Serpent's Venom, usable item. Increases the damage you do with poison-based attacks. Plus 10 poison damage, plus 25% poison damage. That's a weird combination. So it does, what, plus 12? No, what am I talking about? Yeah, plus 12.5 poison damage or plus 13 poison damage. I imagine there's a reason why they separated it like that. Maybe it affects poison spells too or something. I don't know. Ah, check it out. It's a spider. I've never noticed that before. I've played this game through to completion and done this first part many times. This is the first time I've noticed that. Now, if you're asking yourself, if it's so dark, why don't you change the settings? Well, I want to see what the day looks like first. That's why. And the reason for that is because, to some extent, I mean, we're in a cave. You know, like, maybe it should be this dark. So I'm not going to change it yet. I keep doing it. I keep using the wrong button to try to dodge. I wonder, can we change the controls? Because I can't. Like, I would really like to change the controls. Ah, man. Damn it. No. No, you can't. Not really. Because the button, for whatever reason, and I know I basically just stopped playing Greedfall, but I don't remember if Greedfall's dodge was A, but that's the button I keep trying to use. To dodge, it's A. And it's like, no, you're supposed to use B. Ah, damn it. Ah. Alright.
They've completely covered the tunnel. Maybe you can use that staff to burn a path through.
I can see some people complaining.
Not more spiders. Burn them!
For the love of God, please stop hitting A. Brain. Stop hitting A. It's a dodge. It's not A, brain. Wait, how come it says vulnerable, but look how little damage it does. Meanwhile, the lightning. Hold on, watch the lightning. Dead. Dead. No, that's vulnerable. They don't even burn. Or they didn't seem to burn. Look, we can take bones. We're gonna take all. I'm a hoarder. I'm a video game hoarder. If anyone knows of a support group that I can join to fix my addiction, and it's one of the reasons why I hate developers, and they all do it. They have so much stuff in the game that you never need, that you would never use. It's of no value. Dodge, you simpleton. Oh. I thought I could hold it down and do a more powerful attack, but no, I can hold the button down and get shot in my nostrils.
I that you're still groggy, but just keep moving.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll see you
I
on
did
the
not mean to
outside.
talk to you. I thought there was something to loot. Gotta get that loot. I do like to press the sprint button instead of hold. Even though it does take some getting used to because, well, I'm used to having to hold the button down.
Die, twather bastard! Wait, you're not one of them. Ansel, yet alive! And who's this? That's what I intend to find out. He came out of the well. What? Then he'd better get inside to see the old man. Quick, before those twather make another push. This is where we part ways. We take whatever you want from this armory. We might have a few things that would fit you. Just make sure you get your shoes. We can hold off the Tuatha here.
We have a 95% chance of succeeding with this. But, and I imagine, and that's why I said that stuff was nothing to scoff at, because if we had chose a different race, we would not have gotten a persuasion bonus, and we would have had a harder time succeeding with that. However, this doesn't apply to us because we're Thayle. Thayle's not going to say he needs more help. He will say this: I could fight with you, you fool. No, he would say, you fool.
We can't risk you getting killed. You're proof that the well can work. Don't you realize what that means? Just keep going past the top of the well. Hughes will be there in his study. I'll see you on the outside, if fate wills it.
Mind you, dialogue options rarely mean anything in this game, which I have a problem with. You know, like, whether you say I can fight with you or not, it changes nothing. And it would have been cool if it had some kind of effect. Maybe it raises a stat, or improves XP, or shapes your character, or you do stay and fight, and that makes a difference. These people survive, you know? Anything. Instead, it's just, get out of here, kid.
The scholars are soft. The Tuatha will find my Praetorians are a tougher breed. A lot of good gnomes died today. You'd better be worth it.
One of the flaws in this game is how they handled injured people. Injured and sick people. It just sounds terrible.
I've got a lot of wounded gnomes to take care of.
Leather armor is thin, but we'll give
We're
you the
taking
speed to
everything.
reach an enemy's throat.
But this is what I was going to say
Don't
earlier.
freeze your body and mind.
I can see people complaining
Burn it.
and saying this is what's wrong with RPGs, or the problem they have with most RPGs, is that it's too much hand-holding. When we came across, like, we found that staff that shoots fire, we come across the spider webs, and rather than the player figuring out, hey, maybe I could use fire on the webs, the game just tells you. And it kind of makes sense, because you have a guy with you, he's probably going to say something. But at the same time,
Nothing protects quite like layers of impervious
it makes
metal.
you feel like, alright, thanks for not giving me a chance to even try to figure it out. And then, the reason I was reminded that that's what I was going to say is, throughout the battle, excuse me, throughout our journey here, people, you're killing people, you're exploring, you're looting. If you chose not to, you don't get all this stuff. Like, if you notice, because of our exploring, if you pay attention here, we have everything right? So we had the rogue's armor, we had the warrior armor, and we had the robes. So we had the gear for all three base classes for exploring. Well, even if you end up not exploring and you shoot straight through, the game says, here, we'll still take care of you. You still get everything. That's, you know, one could have mixed feelings about that. Because some might go, well, you shouldn't punish people for how they play or whatever. Others might say there needs to be consequences to decisions, including how one decides to play, or else decisions are meaningless. So you need to decide that for yourselves. Me, I'm a case-by-case basis kind of person. And so sometimes I feel that way, sometimes I feel it's fine. Anyway, we're going to end this video for now. This is how most of my videos start when we're doing a new playthrough. So I apologize if this is kind of disappointing for you, but that's why I call it a review and play. A lot of what I'm doing is reviewing as we're playing. So I hope you're enjoying it so far. Until next time, take care.